getting ready to head back out traveling. I'm going to go back to the beaches, the jungle, nature. And this is something that I want to talk about. There is a mass spiritual awakening happening. It's happening across all religions. No religion has a monopoly on truth. And it's playing out in such a way that it's not going to be on the mainstream news. It's currently not. And it's less theatrical than, I think, Christians, Muslims, Jews, a lot of these mainstream religions thought that the second coming of Christ would have been more theatrical, but it's less theatrical. It's spiritually theatrical, but it's physically, people don't really notice this taking place. And ironically, the Bible does say he will come as a thief in the night. Now, when a thief comes, you're usually not aware of it, right? You're asleep. You wake up, your shit's gone. Oh no, what happened? And that's exactly what is happening. But people who are tuned in to it, who are the poor in spirit, blessed are the poor in spirit, for they will see heaven. It's undeniable. It's undeniable what is actually happening. In fact, it's so obvious that it's kind of hilarious that everyone else can't see it. You know, they're still trapped in keeping up with the Joneses, have to get church attendance numbers up. Got a worship set coming up this Sunday. I practiced all week for my message and, I can't mess it up. It's for God. Got to build my empire, grow my business, make more money. What are people going to think of me? Becky didn't invite me to lunch. All this stuff, man, that's a distraction. It's mental noise, right? The Bible says take every thought captive. Why? Well, thoughts, your mind, are the veil that keep you from seeing heaven. If you think about it, Adam and Eve, right? They were in the present moment with God, right? God says, be still and know that I am. What is? Well, the present moment is. And what is in that? Well, it's God. Silence is how God speaks. St. John of the Cross, silence is God's first language, right? In the stillness, God is in the still small voice. Talks about this in the Bible everywhere. It's just, I don't think Christians really truly read and understand the Bible the way that they're supposed to. So Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and they were like God, right? We are created in his image. We're children of God. And so the enemy came to Adam and Eve and says, if you eat this apple or this fruit or whatever, you can be like God. So what was the original sin? It was pulling people out of the present moment with God and making them chase something other than the present moment. What are people stuck in now, right? They get glimpses of heaven, right? Maybe the laughter of a child, a music concert that feels so beautiful. It's like it feels like you're going to live forever. A sunset, a beautiful banquet dinner with all your friends and family. We get glimpses of heaven. And we look back, we think back, and it's called nostalgia. We think back to these moments and we're like, I wish I could return there. Because here's what happens. You get glimpses of heaven where you're in it, right? Your mind slows down. You slow down enough to actually experience it. But then what happens is your ego, or the flesh mind, comes back online. It pulls you out of the present moment and it gets you chasing again. All right, well, we got church Sunday. We got to preach Sunday. We got to get the numbers up. We got to run our empire and build our business and go. Okay, so that's, if you could just stay in that moment and you wouldn't have an ego loop that was a mental loop that was fragmenting your awareness and pulling you out of the present moment, you would just be in heaven. You would just stay in heaven, because heaven is all around you. It's a state of awareness, and people can't stay in it because their mind is too busy thinking. And that's the veil. And the Bible is very clear on this. It says the kingdom is within you. The kingdom is within you. What does that mean? Well, you are made of the awareness of God. That's what you're made of. You're made in his image. What does that mean? Well, it's not flesh and blood. The infinite consciousness, the infinite awareness that holds all of reality, God, you are made of. And when you realize this, you realize, oh my gosh, I've never been separate from God. I've always been in heaven. And even though I physically walk this physical existence, earth, my spirit dwells in heaven. And I just was not able to see that because my mind, my flesh mind, that's why the Bible says the flesh is death, but the spirit brings life, because the flesh mind pulls you out of life, pulls you out of heaven, pulls you out of the God consciousness, and puts you back into chasing, puts you back into the original sin, which is trying to achieve heaven by doing. And you can't, because God says, be still and know that I am God. Basically, be still and know that your birthright is heaven. Your birthright is infinite love, infinite peace, infinite happiness. You already have everything that you're chasing. You already are everything that you are trying to become, because God says, no perfect thing will I withhold from my children. So I hope this encourages you. It definitely encourages me. To know that all my suffering is optional. I can wake up and be in heaven, right? Awake from your sleep, awake from your slumber, and Christ will shine on you. It's time to wake up. People are waking up everywhere around the world. People are waking up and realizing this stuff. They're rejecting society. They're rejecting jobs that have drained their soul for years. They're returning to nature. They're returning to the beach. They're selling their stuff. They're giving it away. And they're going back into nature to be with God, to be with peace, to be with stillness. And you can see it all around the world. Like I said, it's not on the news. It's very quiet. It's very subtle. But make no mistake, it's one of the biggest things that is happening right now. So I'm just going to tell you this. If God's placed on your heart to maybe embrace a simpler way of life, maybe to get rid of your possessions, sell some of your stuff, then I encourage you to walk that out. Because as you release these things, right? I love in the movie Fight Club, he says the things we own end up owning us. Our possessions become as chains to us, right? That's why Jesus told the rich man, go and sell your things and follow me. Why did he say that? He said that because he was trying to free the rich man. He wasn't being cruel. He realized that the rich man had his identity in his stuff, in his wealth. And to let that go was a death of sorts, right? But Jesus says, pick up your cross and follow me. Where? To die. Not physically, but the false identity that we've lived with, that we believe is us. We are to let that go. We are to deny that, to crucify that, right? Paul says, I no longer live. Christ lives in me. Basically, his false self, he crucified. And what is inside of him is the Christ consciousness, the new creature, the Christ-centeredness, the God awareness. And so when you do this, when you physically let go of your things and you embrace a simpler way of life and you return to nature, return to stillness, return to centeredness, you put your phone down and you just sit there. You just sit. You be still and know that he is God. You don't worry about turning it into a message or writing a book or turning it into a song, because that's all ego stuff, right? I need to take this and do something with it. Well, no. You have to learn to walk in heaven and contain eternity before you can start having fun in it. So it's very much an integration period where you, at first, heaven is very difficult to walk in, because you're going from realizing, holy crap, I'm not the person that I thought I was. I'm something else, something more beautiful than you ever thought you could ever be. But you're more you than you ever thought. But you have to let go of the false self, and that's a death. It's a funeral of sorts. But on the other side is everything you long for. It's peace, it's love, it's happiness, it's laughter, real laughter, not fake laughter. It's not having to worry about what people think of you and chasing approval and empires and building this and doing that. You can just rest in peace. Jesus says, I have come to give you life and give you life to the full. And he meant it. So, you're free to walk in it at any time you want. Free to step out in it at any time you want. And I hope you do. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later. Peace.